What's the worst boundary your mother-in-law ever crossed that finally made you snap? When I married Jake, his mom Linda looked like the perfect mother-in-law. She baked cookies, sent sweet handwritten cards, and told everyone how lucky her son was to have me. My own mom had died of cancer when I was 20, so for a while I was genuinely grateful. Linda felt like the mother I'd lost. The red flags started small. She'd let herself into our apartment while we were at work to drop off leftovers or flowers. I'd come home from my nursing shifts to find the kitchen rearranged, my mail opened and sorted, our bedroom door slightly ajar when I knew I'd closed it. Jake just laughed it off. She's just excited to finally have a daughter. Then came the helpful criticism. She checked my counters for dust, reorganized my spice rack properly, frowned at my work scrubs, and said she just wanted to help me become the wife Jake deserved. It escalated fast. She scheduled a gynecologist appointment for me without asking, for fertility. She threw out my birth control pills, pretending they were expired, even though I'd just picked them up. When I confronted her, she burst into tears about her future grandchildren, and Jake, raised on guilt and loyalty, took her side. One day, she walked into our apartment with cleaning supplies and a toolbox, announcing she was redecorating our bedroom. She'd already taken down our wedding photos and replaced them with pictures of Jake's family that didn't include me. When I told her to stop, she dropped the sweet act, looked me right in the eye, and said, "Actually, sweetheart, the lease is in Jake's name, and Jake belongs to me." Then she showed me her phone. Dozens of photos of me. Getting dressed, showering, sleeping, even intimate moments between Jake and me. She'd been secretly photographing me in my own home for months. Insurance, she called it, in case I ever tried to turn her son against her. She calmly explained how she'd use them to paint me as mentally unstable and sexually deviant, have me committed, ruin my reputation. She bragged she'd done similar things to Jake's exes. Something inside me went very still. I pretended to fold, kept my face neutral, and let her rant. All the while, my phone in my scrubs pocket recorded every word. That night, while Jake slept, I dug into his social media and tracked down his ex, Sarah. Her reply to my cautious message? She has photos of me too. We met in person. Sarah described the same pattern. Moved things in her apartment, keyed car, anonymous calls, hidden cameras in her bedroom and bathroom, stolen meds, psychological torment until she broke. Jake, of course, had been convinced Sarah was paranoid and unstable. Through Sarah, I reached two more ex-girlfriends, Maria and Rebecca. Maria's job had been sabotaged by anonymous calls claiming she used drugs. Linda had sent fake texts from Maria's phone to other men, then deleted the evidence. Rebecca had been framed as a thief and gold digger with planted items and forged credit applications. All three women described nearly identical campaigns of harassment, manipulation, and gaslighting. I spent 2 weeks quietly preparing. I installed hidden cameras in our apartment, changed passwords, created new emails. I researched stalking and voyeurism laws and hired a lawyer who specialized in privacy crimes. Then I set a trap. I told Linda I was worried about Jake working late and acting distant. She immediately suggested he might be looking elsewhere if he wasn't being properly taken care of at home. I proposed we surprise him at the office with dinner. She jumped at the chance to catch me failing as a wife. We got there, and his parking spot was empty. Linda lit up with vindication. Right in front of her, I called Jake on speaker. "We're at your office with dinner, but your car's not here." He answered, confused. He was at his pottery class, the hobby he'd hidden his whole life because his mother mocked anything artistic. I played dumb. "Oh, right, your pottery class. Your mom thought you might be having an affair." The silence on the line was thick. Then Jake, hurt and confused, demanded to know why his own mother would jump straight to cheating. I handed her the phone and made her squirm through her excuses. When Jake agreed to come home for a serious conversation, I knew it was time. Back at the apartment, I had a slideshow ready. First, the audio recording of Linda in our bedroom, casually describing how she'd surveil me, have me committed, and destroy my reputation if I ever threatened her control. Jake's face went pale. Linda immediately claimed the recording was edited and fake. So I moved on to the next slide. The photos. Not the explicit ones. Those were for my lawyer, but enough to show the pattern. Images of me asleep, in the shower, in private spaces, complete with timestamps. Then receipts for the hidden cameras, GPS trackers, and recording devices she'd bought using Jake's credit card. She's been tracking my movements, I told him, documenting everything since 2 weeks after our wedding. Next came the call logs and transcripts of her attempts to get me fired with false complaints to my hospital. And finally, live video calls with Sarah, Maria, and Rebecca, each telling Jake directly how his mother had destroyed their lives and relationships using the same tactics. When the calls ended, Jake turned to his mother with tears in his eyes and asked, "How could you do this to the people I cared about? How could you do this to me?" She tried one last performance collapsing, clutching her chest, crying that everything she did was for love. But Jake was finally seeing through it. He told her to get out, demanded every key she had. She handed over copies not just to our place, but to his office, car, even his gym locker. Her parting words were a threat, that he'd regret choosing me over her. She didn't stop. The harassment got worse. Constant calls, scenes at his workplace, letters to relatives claiming I'd brainwashed him, anonymous accusations to our neighbors, a private investigator tailing me. Then she filed a false police report claiming I'd threatened her with a knife. That was her last mistake. I took everything to the district attorney, recordings, photos, receipts, messages, statements from his exes. The prosecutor, who specialized in stalking and harassment, agreed to press multiple felony charges: stalking, voyeurism, harassment, invasion of privacy, filing false reports, witness intimidation. Linda was arrested at yoga. In court, her lawyer tried to paint her as a heartbroken, mentally fragile mother, but the evidence was meticulous and years deep. The jury heard from all 4 of us. Jake testified against her, voice shaking as he admitted he'd been manipulated his entire life into trusting her over everyone else. She was sentenced to prison, plus probation, plus a permanent restraining order forbidding any contact with us. That should have been the end, but even after early release on parole, she violated the order by sending Jake a religious letter, insisting God told her our marriage would fail without her guidance. She went back to prison to serve the rest of her sentence, and then some. Jake and I moved across the country, bought a house in Oregon, and built a life with strong locks, good cameras, and even stronger boundaries. He throws himself into pottery now, something that's finally his, not filtered through her expectations. We're planning a small second wedding, surrounded only by people who actually want us happy. He still struggles with guilt and grief. Losing the illusion of a loving mother is its own kind of death. But he's learning to trust his own judgment, to choose what he wants instead of what she programmed him to want. We started a support group for adult children of manipulative parents. He speaks at workshops now, helping others recognize the red flags he missed. As for Linda, some of Jake's relatives say I was cruel for sending her to prison, that family matters should stay private, that I overreacted to mother-in-law drama. But secretly installing cameras in bathrooms, stalking ex-girlfriends, sabotaging jobs, filing false police reports, and trying to have women locked in psych wards isn't family drama. It's criminal. She spent years terrorizing women who only wanted to love her son. She taught him to doubt himself and see her as the only truth. Stopping her wasn't vengeance. It was necessary. The last I heard, Linda tells fellow inmates, I'm a witch who cast a spell to steal her precious son. On that point, maybe she's right. I did cast a spell, the kind that makes toxic, abusive mothers-in-law disappear behind bars where they can't hurt anyone else. And I don't regret it for a single second.